Abend, willkommen zu der Nurburgring. Es ist VLN4. Ich fahre Rennen Nummer 36, der BMW M6 GT3. Das Wetter ist warm und sonnig für das Wochenende. Das Wochenende is sehr gut. There you go, that's my German that I'm slowly learning as I spend more and more time in Germany and the Nurburgring. So we're here for VLN4, if you didn't get that. This weekend is very special because I am driving with Walkenhorst Motorsport, this time in their BMW M6 GT3 car, which is awesome. I'm catching up with you on the Friday evening, so I've actually been out in the car this morning on the Grand Prix circuit to learn the car, and then in the afternoon as well. So just to give you a quick recap for that, morning session went really well, very non-pressure environment, just to learn the car, learn all the features of it. So I got given a 23-page document yesterday afternoon to go through, which is the driver's manual for all the buttons on the wheel, all the buttons in the instrument panel. It's proper button porn in that car, which is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, managed to get out in the car this morning, which was absolutely fantastic. We'll show you some footage of that, and then we also managed to get out in the Nordschlife a little bit later on. Didn't quite go to plan, however we got 2 laps in around the Nordschlife, as with a small gearbox issue, which we'll catch up in a second. So yeah, that's the weekend so far. I'm going to go pick up my dad from the train station now, as he's just flown in for the race weekend, and then yeah, we're back here early doors, 8 AM tomorrow morning, ready for qualifying. And yeah, I think we'll have a competitive lineup. I'm driving with Rudy Adams, a Pirelli test engineer, and Andreas Ziegler, a very competent, more gentleman driver. So yeah, I think we'll have a competitive lineup for the weekend. So yeah, we'll catch up tomorrow morning. But in the meantime, check out what's happened so far today. So I've just had my first run in a GT3 car ever around the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit, short circuit. So they run testing on the Friday mornings at the VLN events. So it's a perfect opportunity to obviously for me to get to grips with the car on a shorter circuit before then jumping out onto the big circuit. You can see behind me that the cars are currently out on circuit. What an experience this car was to drive. Just the thing that really stands out to me is just the drivability and stability of the car. Braking is the big thing. I knew it was always going to be decelerating very quickly, and you can put a lot of brake pressure through the car itself, but just how stable and how comfortable it felt to do that. It just stops in an absolute instant, and it feels like you can waggle the wheel mid-braking zone and it's not going to do anything at all. Same with the accelerating. Because it's a big powerful car, I thought it'd be a little bit leery, a little bit rolly to really try and put the power down, but again it just sits down, squats and just absolutely takes off, and the traction control looks after you nicely when you're just being that little bit too greedy. Touching on those systems, GT3 cars have ABS and traction control for you to use. They're not exactly a performance aid, they just give you that little safety margin, that little safety net, so that you can push straight away and you always know that the car's just got your back that little bit. So it's important not to use them too much, but they're there just in case you need them. The other thing that really stands out to me with the M6 is the aero of the car. Anything above sort of 100, 120 Ks, the car is just absolutely rooted to the floor. Again, super stable in the medium and high speed corners, which I think for me, my first foray into GT3 cars on the Nordschlife, I mean, that in itself is jumping in right at the deep end. It's a perfect car to jump in. The trickiest bit for me is getting on the Thursday evening, they sent over a 23-page driver's manual with all of the functions and switches that the steering wheel, the instrument panel in the middle of the car has, for all situations, good and bad. So that's the trickiest bit, is learning what to do for all of those. The pit speed limiter is variable, so it reacts to the code 120s and code 60s when you're out on circuit, as well as actually in pit lane as well. So that's an interesting feature to be using. So yeah, done the morning now, so we're going to do this afternoon session, which is on the full Nordschlife. That'll be my first opportunity to sample the car on the big circuit. So yeah, we'll jump in on some onboard for that. So let's go. Oh yes, I will. So here we go, first time out on the Nordschleife in the GT3 car. It's going to be very busy out there, it's very hot, perfect conditions. Got a new tyre run a little bit later on as well, so yeah, it's going to be a good session. Very happy and comfortable after this morning, so yeah, let's go do this. GT3 Nordschleife, baby. Small gearbox issue that we've had, so the noise coming from fourth gear, so the guys are just checking it out, which puts the test plan on hold very slightly, which is a shame, but one of those things, you don't want to go wrecking a gearbox before the race. So boys are on it now, see if we can get it fixed and hopefully get some more track time later on. It's race day, baby, and we're just about to jump in the car for qualifying. So let's jump in for 2 quick laps on this beautiful sunny morning. I think it's gonna be warm today, so gonna be drinking lots. So that is qualifying done. We line up P6, which is mega. I got a busy lap and a clear lap, so good for managing traffic. And also got a flyer in as well to start building my confidence through the fast stuff. Rudy did a mega job to put in some two very fast lap times on old tyres and new tyres. Yeah, so that was just P6 and a good place for the race. So yeah, now we're going to go have a briefing and a meeting, and then we'll bring you the build up to the race in a second. On the grid, the VLN4, as you can see, is absolutely rammed. We've got the Porsche on 1 and 3, the PlayStation cars on PT, and then we are just here in P6. Here he is. Hello.
Back about to go racing with a gap on the outside of the front row. Chris Dawes and Johnny Palmer here on RS3 about to take you through then the 4th race of the season as the red lights are about to be extinguished. It looks like they're already racing though. Red lights definitely are out now, and the SP9 cars thought about going 3 abreast. It is 4 abreast for something like 3rd position, and the Ferrari, car number 22, trying to go right around the outside to take the race lead. Can't quite do that. So car 31, the Porsche from Fricadelli Racing, will lead for the first time into the Mercedes arena. And I mentioned about these Ferrari 488s being pretty swift cars. They're up to 2nd and 3rd already, which demotes Fricadelli Porsche down to 4th. Lamborghini from Conrad going very nicely as well. I tell you, the big loser in all of that was the number 5 Audi. Started on the 2nd row. It's now way back in 6th position.
Yeah, he got absolutely monstered by the Lamborghini through there, and just sort of managed to push him off onto the grass, and I think he had no real choice to do it. Then we've got a small gap before we've got the Renault. So the Muten Heiko is desperately trying to keep on to the back of that pack, and in fact, looking as they come down towards us, is broken away from the BMW behind it. He's closing onto the back of the Audi R8 even further. So yeah, not a great start for the Audi R8, is it?
No, it's not, and that car will come into its own later on in the race because normally the 5 Phoenix Audi racing car has 2 drivers assigned to it. Yes, it's Vincent Kolb and Frank Stippler. Now, Vincent is a silver graded driver, still quite early on in his career, and Frank Stippler is the work.
40 minutes in, and Andreas has set a steady pace so far, and we're in clear air, so we're about to jump in the next 20 minutes or so, so we're going to go get kitted out, warmed up, and yeah, go for it. So here we go.
I'm afraid to say the 35 car has gone into the garage though, so clearly the Walkenhorst Motorsport BMW, those early problems for the German outfit have maybe struck again, and car 35 has done a few laps in this race, but is now going to be parked up at least for the time being, and all attentions down at Walkenhorst will now turn to the 36 machine, which hops and jumps its way into Tiergarten and Hohenrhein. It has on its boot lid one of the Black Falcon Porsches neatly for a fast getaway, and they tend to turn these cars to 45 degrees.
Ominous for a minute though, wasn't it?
Well, my other thought was, so out of Advan Bogen through that right-hander, which is pretty much full throttle, and then into the braking area for the Vidal chicane. And car number 31. Well, the 4th sector of this lap, remember there are 5 sectors on the Nurburgring Nordschlife, and the 4th sector, where the code 60 currently is, taking cars about 4 minutes 20 to go through, as opposed to that being about a 3.5 minute sector when it is fully green. So it's costing cars about 50 seconds.
A few interesting comments. Josh Barrett forwarded the Fricadelli Racing tweet that said that obviously the car 31 car stopped after 6 laps. Tyres, fuel, driver change, Seidler out. And
Lance David Arnold in, I think.
Yeah, Arnold is Lance David Arnold in, so that certainly updates what we expect there. Interesting comment as well from Right Turn Lover. If the code 60 stays for the rest of the race, there'll be no pit stop timing advantage. We've been talking maybe pit stopping early whilst this massive, long slow zone is in situ, but if that stays for the whole race, then that advantage goes. Less laps, and therefore they could actually run away with saving a stop, maybe.
Right.
And this could actually mean that the 22 car that is going longer, the advantage would switch the other way, and they would have the advantage by staying out longer and being able.
And you mentioned about the Rudy Adams car. I was going to take a moment, really at the start of the broadcast, to congratulate David Pittard, who's managed to get himself now a full season entry with Walkenhorst Motorsport. Another example of a British racer in the mould of Adam Christodoulou, really, and people like Ricky Collard being able to get deals in other countries, and David Pittard, who came through the Ginetta programme in the UK and then went on to British GT. has secured himself a deal with Walkenhorst Motorsport for the remaining VLN races this season. So well done to David.
So stint completed, fairly uneventful stint, I must admit. We were running around 10th-ish or so, something like that. Ran an hour's stint. It was very difficult to work out where we were. We dropped a bit of time to the guys ahead, so therefore I just managed to see one of the Renault SBX class cars. Not direct competition in our class, but a position overall, so I saw that and reeled him in, and then luckily got past him on the very final lap of my stint, which I was well pleased with. Tidy pit stop, hand over to Rudy, and he's out of the car now, so just going to go and swap a t-shirt, all sweaty, and then yeah, Rudy's got 2 hours ahead of him towards the end of the race, so we'll catch up at his next pit stop. Yeah, go get him, Rudy.
We could yet have a change for 7th position. Looks to be a little bit of grass in the grille of the BMW, almost showing signs that that big M6 has been off the road somewhere and scooped up some weeds maybe from the side of the track. Heading into Tiergarten and Hohenrhein, with 50 seconds on the clock, these guys have got to go all the way around one more time yet, whereas the race leader is somewhere in sector 3 right now, so probably about a third of the way around on the final lap. Shakes a little between the Renault and the BMW. 55 and 36 is a slightly more strung out this time. They're still together, but separated by about 4 or 5 car lengths, and that's unlikely to change then. This new wrap, this new paint job for car 55 gets a good result, and that's good for as
So there we go, P8 overall in the end, and P3 in class, so very positive first result. Here we just lost a lot of time in the first stint, and also on my outlap as well, being caught in code 6C. Dropped us about 50 seconds, and we're about 45 seconds behind 4th place overall, and I think a minute behind P2, sorry, in class. So yeah, it's just the luck of the draw with the code 60s. Some people get them, some people don't. And when you get them, you unfortunately lose out fairly big time. But yeah, cars run faultless all weekend. Drivers have been fantastic. Team's been fantastic. So big thanks to Walkenhorst Motorsport for making my first GT3 experience the best it can be. So yeah, we're back here in 5 weeks' time for the 6-hour race. Yeah, I'm already counting the hours to come back here again. So yeah, signing off from the Nurburgring now. Stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and make sure to suggest anything that you want to see here at the Nurburgring or in general in the stuff that we're up to. So yeah, auf Wiedersehen from the ring. Ciao.